Garces?
Present.
Myself, Dr. Manuel is present. Ashley, can you mark me off? Ariana Humphrey, present. And Jacob, here. Ms. Vanessa McKay, the virtual as well.
Yes.
And Mr. Murphy.
And just ask them if they were able to hear that. Ms. McKay, señor Juanito, ¿podrían escuchar eso? Ahorita cuando estamos diciendo los nombres.
Casi no podía oír mi nombre. Yo tampoco.
They're just reporting that it's a little hard to hear.
So for the purpose of recording, I would like everybody to speak up because also that's picking up our microphone, our voice, as the microphone is over there.
So please take moments to review the agenda. Just a brief reminder that we can all access this on the department website. Typically, ideally, we would post it fully opening it to the public 1 week before meetings. It will always be there at least 48 hours. If you guys would like, we can set up a reminder.
I want to move because of, for the sake that there's a few fundraisers and presentations, including the CIWP presentation, I would like to move that the time allocated for the old business been added to the new business, which includes the voting of transfer, the approval of CIWP, and the voting of fundraisers. So we have a little bit more time. I did realize looking at the papers that there are like six fundraisers. So I think we need a little bit more time allocated for that. So I move that the agenda is modified where the 15 minutes, 10 minutes for old business is added to the new business.
So in that case, we will eliminate the business completely? For now?
For now, it's not gonna be, right?
Yeah, I second that. We didn't have anything.
Okay.
It's a standing item on
Yeah.
the agenda. It's
Let's take roll call to approve that petition. Mrs. Foreman? Ms. Foreman, Domingo?
Can we get that translated?
O sea, si yo hago la moción de que los 10 minutos que estaban proyectados para asuntos pendientes, como no tenemos nada para asuntos pendientes, mover los 10 minutos a asuntos nuevos. So, esa es la moción. La señora Kearns lo secundó y ahora estamos en el proceso de votación.
Si están en favor, señora Flamenco, llamar a tu nombre.
Aye.
I'll ask Ms. McKay now as well, since she's also virtual.
Okay.
Aye.
Alfonso Zaragoza? Aye. Mr. Garces?
Aye.
Myself, Lily Lopez, aye. Anthony Lumaki, so Ariana Humphrey? Aye. Jacob Peter?
Aye.
And Jason?
Aye.
Senora Arnold?
Aye.
Four.
I actually do have a motion about it. We intended, so over the weekend, when the agenda was being put together, being finalized, it was added into 15 minutes for the CIWP. The CIWP was not finalized until this week. My understanding is that the only members of the LSC who have even seen it were on the CIWP team. Is that correct? Everything the rest of you see the document? So 10 minutes were allotted to present it and 5 minutes for discussion. This document is our 3-year plan for our top priorities for where we need. Personally, I don't think it's appropriate for us to vote on this without trying to review it and trying to open it up to the public. We're supposed to have a public session where community members, students, parents can comment. Technically, this meeting can count as that, but that is only the 15-minute for public viewing of the minute presentation. The deadline for this is September 15th, so this is not like we'll miss our deadline and have an issue with restricted legally that. So I would make a motion to schedule a special meeting for that. We'll check our schedule to make sure we can all make it, because I don't want to leave anybody out. So that we have time to review this and time to make sure that the CIWP has feedback or receives feedback before we go on that 3-year plan. Do we have a second for that motion?
Actually, I would say that for the special meeting, we don't need a motion.
Well,
You can call it this.
well, what I'm suggesting, though, I am motioning to remove that from
Oh,
this agenda.
so
Because
what's the
otherwise,
motion?
yes, because otherwise, we still have to vote tonight. If we approve the agenda as it stands.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
and so then I would have to call a special meeting to modify it, and that just makes sense.
So for the record, what would be the motion?
The motion is to remove that, to still have the presentation, but to remove the vote from the agenda and address that at a special meeting to be held before the 15th. To give this LSC members time to review and, think that vote through.
Are we opening this up for incorporated motion for discussion?
Well, first we have to try to give a second, because if we have no second, then it's becomes also.
Instead, the speaker, this document?
Or are we working on, yeah, okay. I'm skipping it. Yes, and there's going to be speaking a lot of the terms in there. Well, there's going to be some of us. Yeah, like, I think there's going to be a lot more questions that we would have to have with this.
So I understand motion speaker, there are rules that say that on the agenda, allowing for the presentation to be access and to provide feedback, during and then to table this before, September.
No, so the September meeting is too late, so it would be a special meeting, but I will call 5:15. Yes, I always make discussion of that motion before we move on. Mr. It sounds like you wanted to wait.
Yes, but I didn't know if we have to, are you opening it up before everybody else votes?
Yeah.
Because we just got a second.
Yeah, we have a second. If we didn't have a second, it doesn't matter to discuss the motion. Like, there is no
Correct.
motion. But yes, I mean, we need to let feedback when we have motions for people to wait before we vote.
Okay, I'm going to translate for the
Thank
people.
you.
So, hay una moción para esperar y dar más tiempo a revisar el CIWP, el plan que íbamos a presentar hoy, para dar más tiempo a los miembros del concilio a revisar el plan, pues, y tener más tiempo con el plan. El plan se tiene que entregar al distrito en septiembre, el 15 de septiembre. Y ahorita la señora Kearns y el señor Zaragoza votaron en favor de esperarse para una fecha, para una junta en el futuro, antes de la fecha donde tenemos que entregar el plan, que es antes del 15 de septiembre. Y ahorita están abriendo para discusión.
So, and then we roll call.
No,
We're
that's
ready
right.
for discussion first.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, let's be agree, but obviously we want this to be a position.
So my question would be, how much time do we think would be enough to be considered? Because remember, the idea of creating a CIWP team is to give that plan some time, to give that team time to think things through, create the plan, and then present to the LSC. I want us to think about that because the plan is not for the LSC to be the CIWP team, but simply listen to the presentation and then vote on the presentation and the plan itself. So I want us to be really conscious of these deadlines. I don't want to miss the deadline September 15th. My recommendation is that if we do end up voting for something like this, that the special meeting is done far in advance to continue to consider people's thoughts, comments, and opinions. However, I just want to know what we think or what you may think is enough time. Because there may be some people in the room that hear the presentation and that's more than enough time to process or consider the plan. But I just want to put that idea out there.
You want to translate that before I respond?
Sí, ahorita lo que estoy diciendo es, estoy haciendo la pregunta de cuánto más tiempo el presidente del Consejo cree que vamos a necesitar para seguir leyendo y procesando el plan. Es que yo no quiero, entregar todo el tiempo al distrito y yo quiero dejarles todos saber que había un equipo dedicado a hacer este plan, a darle tiempo a pensar del plan, ver datos y construir el plan. Y luego se vota, se presenta aquí al concilio y se vota. El concilio no es el equipo que escribe el CIWP, el plan. Por eso yo quiero que saber si es posible, podemos considerar la presentación y simplemente entender la presentación y votar. Pero queremos discutir un poco.
In response to that, it's not always a weird situation because I am the one who calls the names. Technically, I can call them whenever I want. I think we need to be mindful of exactly those concerns, including if for some reason it were to get rejected, we need to have time to go back to make any adjustments. And I don't want to see people getting on the deadline where this has to be approved tonight. My preference would be meeting first at least 1 week before that deadline. What it will come down to is making sure that people are available. It's not helpful to call a special meeting if people can't make it in the form to be able to perform business. So then what I would do is by the end of this meeting, ask people to discuss their availability so that we can just call that special meeting right now and have it on everybody's calendar. And also be able to update the CIWP team, especially those of you who may have been coming tonight, and we want to make sure that you two are available. So that everybody's scheduled and we can get moving with it as soon as reasonably possible.
Estás diciendo que si podemos considerar una fecha antes para poder entregar todo a tiempo y posiblemente pensar en esa fecha ahora para poder poner esta segunda junta en el schedule de nosotros como concilio.
And then we want feedback from if the motion passes.
Y ahorita están queriendo opiniones del concilio. I think I'm asking them that they also have thoughts or comments that they want to give. And I think in that light, would it be okay then to have this vote after the presentation to say, well, you know what, after the presentation, there's still a lot to consider. Maybe we do need this second meeting, or we listen to the presentation and the LFC decides, oh no, the presentation was enough. We don't need a second meeting.
So you wanted to table approving the agenda until we make a presentation, then go back to this motion and that, correct?
Or keep the agenda as is and then have another motion after the presentation. But I guess yes,
So
we would have to change the
everything
agenda.
else on the agenda.
Yes.
And move it in this
Yes.
portion.
We would have to do that, right?
I have no objection to that, does anybody else?
So this one, we're not voting on the specific kiosk, but just on the remaining portion of the
Yeah, I think that's like the motion.
So what's the motion?
The motion would be to revisit this portion of the agenda and approve everything else right now. Correct?
We'll allow for the presentation to occur, and then after the presentation, just have a motion of whether we need more time after the presentation has occurred.
And we second the motion. To expect to approve everything else.
So you say that aloud so we can hear?
Yes, so the motion is just to approve all of the agenda other than that part, and then, and that would hold the vote on that portion. So right now, the vote will just be to approve every other part of the agenda, including Mr. Christmas.
Or since the agenda has not been approved, is it possible that we create that we amend the agenda now and just say that we're going to have this vote on whether or not we need a follow-up meeting?
Technically, we can't do that because it hasn't been 48 hours. We can only, because in order to vote on something, that particular item has to be on the agenda. So we would be voting to amend the agenda.
So we have not voted.
Right, that's the reason, that's what this vote would be to
Amend it.
that vote to open up the possibility of opening that line item for amendment once we hear the presentation.
But item number 3, I just want to make this a clarification. Item number 3 says approval and amending of agenda.
Right.
So can
He
we
is
amend?
He is asking that we,
Amend the agenda.
well, no, he's asking that we don't, so, we think about it explain it. We cannot amend the agenda to add in a vote that is a standalone vote. So the other option is we could approve them as they stand, and then anybody who wants more time can vote against approving the CIP today. These are the only two options would be to vote this as an agenda amendment, to delay, to have the special meeting instead of holding the vote today, or to have that vote continue and just know that in the vote.
So my understanding that your request for the motion that you put was to amend the agenda.
Right.
So now it cannot be amended.
Well, my request to make the amendment was to remove that vote. Principal Escamilla is asking that we hold off on that amendment until we do the presentation. So.
We were still going to hear the presentation.
Right, but that we have the vote about amending that line item on whether or not to hold the vote on the CIPC.
Yeah, I guess in other words, I felt it was a little, without the discussion, it was a little presumptuous to say that we wouldn't understand the plan, and therefore we should vote for a second meeting. I think we should have heard the plan to at least say, yeah, we really need more time, or.
Then we can proceed, and anybody who wants more time can just vote no, and we can handle it that way if you prefer not to amend the agenda, assuming that everybody votes. And then with the motion, it's not an assumption, it's just asking people that they can continue for that. Would we prefer to just leave it as it stands? I mean, we have a second to leave it as it stands, and just to say, if you feel like you need more time, then it would be appropriate to give everybody more time than to vote no on it today. And if you feel like you are in a position to make a decision on it, then go ahead and yes.
So this new motion needs to be not regarding the agenda, aside from the revision we made earlier for us to hold the business, to leave the remaining portion of the agenda as is.
Por ahí se discute los que tenemos que cambiar. Tener otra pregunta para votar
Well,
para
here's
el
the thing,
plan
we could
FCCA.
Right.
Do the parents need to get to hear or see the presentation before we vote on that LLC, or is it going to be done afterwards?
We believe in what we
This would be considered the open forum where we've invited every single family and advertised it to our community and advertised it to some of our community members as well. So this would be considered that forum.
So, and it was advertised in the community that the second we would discuss.
Yeah.
It was based on the agenda, which was made public over the weekend. Okay, so only if somebody goes to the Foreman website and pulled up the agenda and saw it on there between the weekend and today. And the CIP itself was not, like, described as even more activity is there's
As a clarification, it's been in the website that the meeting was happening for at least a month. It's been in the, so the announcement that the meeting was happening. The accessibility to the agenda was a week, this weekend.
okay.
But the fact that the meeting was happening, it's been publicized on.
But the fact that the CAWP was being discussed was not on their agenda, correct?
It's correct, yes.
Okay.
Because that's when, because of the 48 hours.
Yeah, because that's when we do the meeting.
Yeah.
Did anything else go out to both to the Foreman, like the parents, the staff, the students, as well as the actual broader community, other than being in the agenda?
Well, it was also briefly presented in 2 different sessions that I presented during orientation, and to the entire staff as well during our opening week. So yes.
Is it work if we presented to the community with 40 hours? Would parents show up if there was an additional meeting that was just specific to the CAA? Would we get more interest and more feedback from parents, or is this it?
Well, I'm going to say, not responding to that, but I want to add to something. It is, the working plan, where will be modifications to it as well, so that items are happening or the time is going by. So I just want to add that to your question, where will parents be able to even give some more input if they show up now?
See how it works. So I guess the thing is just do we want to move forward and vote on that motion, and then if it fails, we'll have it approve the agenda as is.
So there's a motion that you have to vote for.
Right, that's what I was, well, I was making sure that he didn't withdraw the second, because if after the discussion he withdraws the second, unless somebody else wants to second. Do you want to fill like in otherwise? Because I don't know either of them even heard any of that, let alone understand about that.
Yes, I've been trying to cover this as we go on. But I'll try to recap some of había como unos comentarios de la preocupación de que no teníamos mucho tiempo darle información a los padres y a los maestros o los niños de la escuela. Yo expliqué que yo tenía 2 presentaciones durante la presentación para platicar sobre este plan, y también cuando abrimos la escuela con la comunidad de la escuela, los maestros, todos que trabajan aquí, también hablamos sobre el plan con los maestros y la escuela, la comunidad de la escuela. Había varios momentos donde sí había pláticas con la comunidad, con los padres y con los maestros que trabajan aquí, hablándoles sobre el plan. Ahorita hemos cubrido todos los requisitos para crear este plan y presentarlo. Y el señor Garcés estaba explicando un punto que el plan no es completo, podemos cambiarlo con tiempo. Si hay una necesidad de cambiar algo en el futuro, podemos hacer esos cambios en el futuro.
Yes, I would like to ask to.
Fátima Flamenco.
Ahorita estamos buscando platinas.
Ms. Maria. Ms. Alvarez.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Marcelo.
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah. You would regurgitate the agenda with vote.
As long as we're gonna have a
Okay.
public discussion with parents, and they have input, and
President.
What was the motion again?
The motion is currently made about raising fees and $1 million to having a question.
Well, in regards to not.
Now we know
Not voting for the schedule. So, I want to vote.
those who say aye, mean that they will
Do we need to start this over?
and those who say no, say that they plan to continue the presentation of the
Yeah.
have the voice.
No.
So that, you know. No, Mrs. Speaker. Aye.
Then we have a motion to approve the.
Can we say out loud what happened? I didn't hear.
Oh, I see the motion did not pass.
Okay.
So then do we have a formal motion to approve the agenda as it now stands?
I motion that the agenda is approved as it stands with the modification that I requested
Yeah.
of the minutes.
Do you have that?
Now we are moving to
Ahorita no pasó la moción con los votos.
the motion.
I mean, who said it?
We can roll call for this. Ms. Kern? Fatima Domingo? Aye. Ms. Albert?
Aye.
Mr. Saragosa? Aye. Mr. Garza?
Aye.
Dr. Lopez? Aye. Ms. Thompson? Aye. Mr. Speaker?
Aye.
Ms. McKay? Aye. Mr. Padilla?
Aye.
Motion passes.
We have the minutes from the last meeting.
We have 3 minutes.
Ahorita estamos revisando los puntos de los otras citas y si ven la agenda son 3 meses que tenemos que aprobar. Y si recuerdan pueden ver los puntos en la tarjeta o si quieren algo bien fácil también pueden fijarse en el sitio de web. Tenemos la lista de herramientas y los
So that.
No, that was I'll get it. So we'll start with the May minutes. A quick,
estamos empezando con los puntos del mayo.
just to start from the English version, should be item 3, zero left out.
That was the start time.
Yes.
Modificar las minutas, de la hora, en vez de 5-3, es 5-0 en la modificación.
Modificando otra vez los puntos de 5-3, 5-0-3 cuando empezamos en los minutos.
I want to point out that the students were not here, so they might be voting for something that they don't know, but just
Right. They
to
typically
know
have,
that.
yeah, does anybody who was at that meeting see anything else that needs to be changed?
Si notan algo que se tiene que cambiar en los minutos del mayo, por favor hablen. Ahorita todos estamos revisando.
Just so.
Then I will motion to approve with that one edit. We have a second.
Can we open up for discussion?
Oh, I asked if there was any changes that needed to be
Well, I think after you said we can open for discussion.
on the minutes.
Yeah.
That was when I was asking for comments. Do you have other comments?
No comments, discussion.
Okay.
After the youth we motion first, then we do the second, and then we open for discussion, right? For any motion.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm opening for discussion, that I would like to note that none of these items says what was the motion about. So I'm gonna not approve, I'm just gonna say I won't approve this, but there's nothing that says, only says who motioned and what was the motion. And
Which-
it's
This
approved.
is a closed session meeting to the special.
Yeah, what motions are you referring to in
Right.
this?
There's no, I think in the motion should state what the motion is about.
So
So-
which line are you looking at?
Or like from the 5-6
Okay.
Was
and,
this the regular meeting or was this the closed session?
This is the closed session. So for
And
five, the
the-
motion was to approve the evaluation that we
Right.
discussed in closed session. You want the minutes updated to state as written?
yes,
Okay,
I would say so.
so this, so where it says, it should say motion to approve principal evaluation.
So I have a question, yeah, because I see that, number 5, it says, vote on approval of principal evaluation, and it's translated. So it's there.
Right, that's what I don't understand.
It's-
Is it originally-
Here, I'll show you the, I'll read it.
No, I get it, but I feel like the actual item is what is being stated and what is being voted on.
It would just say the
It's
motion,
too redundant.
motion made by you, seconded by me, to approve the evaluation discussed in closed session, correct? Sir?
Yes. I think motions have to be stated on the minutes.
I agree, but I feel like because this was a closed session and it says specifically what is.
I'm not focusing on the closed session, I'm focusing on
It's
item number
really-
5-6.
Is there a problem with editing without you mentioned just for like this?
No, I just don't find it necessary, but I have what's on it.
Like, budget presentation. What do you talk about?
Ahorita se está discutiendo si necesitamos más detalles en los minutos del mes de mayo, en cada vez que votamos. Y ahorita también está discutiendo que ese tiempo fue una sesión privada, donde típicamente no se dan muchos detalles en los minutos.
So then on 8, are you also wanting that to be revised to say motion made to approve the budget proposal made by Foreman?
Yeah, well, the budget.
Actually, I know we have to formally vote, but something to add to that, and I'm glad that you caught this, because I'm jogging my memory. You wanted to specifically go over what the budget was and what our comments made. Because what we had voted, all of the budget went over was staffing and non-staffing costs.
So,
And then
yeah.
we agreed to follow up in the fall on the specific line items, like on a detailed budget, because we were still waiting for confirmation from the district. So you want that all spelled out in the minutes, correct?
Kind of, not exactly, but
Okay.
in a general aspect, but not so detailed, you know,
Okay.
like, what is the motion about? Should be stated in all voting.
Why don't you let us know how you would like it worded in your current motion?
Okay?
Because your motion is to amend this. What is your motion to amend it?
No, I'm not motioning anything, I just opened it.
Okay.
We're in discussion.
Your discussion. How would you like it to read as you want to be back in the discussion?
As it happened in the meeting.
Okay.
It's not as it happened in the meeting.
Okay.
What if it is a session where we cannot specifically say something?
I think I would have to go back to be specific, I would have to go back to the video and watch it and be able to state exactly what it was.
Would you like?
Because the part of the minutes is to be a reflection of what happened in the meeting. And just the fact that it says, motion approved, motion is not stating that what happened in the meeting. This is not a
This
thing.
particular meeting, was not filled because it was
No,
closed.
that is not correct. There was the public session, the public portion of it was recorded. I would like to then make a motion that we tonight vote to decline to approve these, to give us that time to review it, and to see if we need to make amendments to it for next week. Do you second that?
You're putting it up me.
Well, I'm asking you because it's really order, like, this seems like the.
You're putting a motion, you're putting a motion, wait.
Anybody else?
We're putting a motion here at the LLC. Anybody
Right,
can
that's what I
second.
said, or any.
Then I can vote.
Yes,
Okay, so
I would
you're
like
not
to
putting
see
it on
that
me.
we're on it, but does anybody want to second it? Because the alternative is to approve it as it stands, or to propose a motion to amend it.
Correct, and I just open up for discussion.
And
We can, there's a motion out, we can vote for it right now. For the motion that you presented.
okay, so you gave a motion to approve it as it stands, does anybody want to second that?
I second that.
Okay, then let's go to the vote.
Can you just clarify the motion again?
She said to approve it as approve it. And so I second it. Basically,
What first the feedback was that it's not descriptive enough. I think it says like the title, what it was about, motion, second, motion passes. I think that's pretty like self-explanatory. So I think it just seems unnecessary.
Say myself the vote, because I don't have strong preference.
Mr. Maple, señora Maple.
Señora Blanco, la moción es que seguimos con los minutos como están o mostrar cómo están escritos para poder iniciar esta votación.
I didn't hear her.
She says she voted in favor of the way they are.
Okay, so she said that. Okay. Ms. Hines. Mr. Garces?
No.
Myself, aye. Aye. Mr. Speaker?
No.
Mr. McKay? Aye. Mr. Escamilla?
No.
So we have 3 noes and the rest aye.
She didn't vote.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Palmer?
no.
No.
4 noes.
Okay.
You got that one.
I did not vote because I used the version.
You abstain, so you abstain.
So she.
I was saying it wasn't the tiebreaker or that we are in a standstill. I prefer to defer to the majority on this. But it was the one.
Oh, Ms. McKay?
He said that.
Será
5.
Then I have to vote the same.
1, 2, 3, 4, no. She said no. So there's 4 no's right here.
4 noes and aye.
Right. Yeah.
And you are.
You said
Yeah, I
aye.
abstain. I said I'm going to
Yeah, yeah,
abstain
that's-
as long as I'm not a son.
It's right here.
So the motion passes.
Yes.
Pasó la moción para quedarse con los minutos como están.
I didn't think that is helpful feedback for us moving forward. Let me know when you're ready for it.
June 6th.
Ahora estamos viendo los minutos de junio 6. Y también para hacer cosas fáciles, lo voy a poner aquí en mi pantalla para ustedes. This is the June 6th meeting, correct?
Yes.
Voy a poner
motion that this minutes are approved as it is.
I will second the question, we don't have anybody else to speak after or to before we actually approve. Yeah, any discussion needed about the June 6th?
She wants to make a correction of the correction of the spelling of her name.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise,
Is that under the attendance decision?
Item number 7, second page of 7. She's pointing out, on both sides, Spanish and English, the name, the spelling of the name.
Was just one end?
Yeah.
So her name is Annabelle Vargas. And it only has one name.
And then there's just a typo on those.
Yes, it is an extra A, an extra A.
So I'm going to restate my motion, which is to approve, I motion that this minute is approved with the spelling correction of the minutes of June 6th.
Okay, you ready to roll call? Ms. Kearns? Senator Flamenco? Aye. Ms. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Zaragoza? Mr. Garza?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Ariana Humphrey? Aye. Jacob Speaker?
Aye.
Ms. McKay? Aye. Anthony Escamilla?
Aye.
Motion passes.
On to the July.
This was the organization meeting.
For this one, I would like to make a motion that for the selection of officers, that the minutes be amended to just list who was appointed to each of the lists, because it does not state that. Just put it, it says, motion of captain, but it doesn't say so. Not all of that,
For the temporary or for the permanent?
all of them.
This is the organizational meeting.
Before we vote on that, does anyone else have anything else that they would like to make a motion on for changes for us?
Estamos revisando los tiempos de julio. Si tienen algo que decir para hacer los cambios ahora.
For the benefit of our LSC members that are Spanish speakers, there's nothing in Spanish in these minutes, after item number 10. So I don't know how they vote on that.
Notamos que se necesitaba traducir después del punto 8 de la
To address those changes, at the next, when we vote on it, I would motion to delay the vote on this until next month, so that we can have regulations out.
I don't have a change, just same thing, name typo. Yeah, okay. Usually it's Google always corrects it to Humphrey with an H. Yep. But I promise you.
I didn't catch it.
It's okay. Just pointing it out.
correctamente, y vamos a hacer ese cambio, pero hay una opción de esperarnos de votar en unos minutos para ese mes hasta que se pueda traducir esos puntos.
You want to do a call for voting to eliminate urgent approval. What was the motion? To not vote to whether or not to approve this, because not everybody speaks English. Oh, and so we want to make sure that the translations are available for every line item for every example.
We voted.
All right.
No, I'm not right.
We said we
Yes,
have
we
to
will be in
second.
You second, he
Yes,
second.
we have to discuss.
Yes, it is there.
If anybody wants to discuss it.
We have to do it. Are you ready to go over that?
There was no discussion? All right. Ms. Burke? Ms. Flamenco?
Estamos votando por los minutos.
Ms. Alvarez? Ms. Zaragoza? Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Ms. Andre? Aye. Mr. Seeger?
Aye.
Mr. Bonilla?
Aye.
Ms. McKay? Aye. Motion passes.
Can I just try to make it right? Like, I really appreciate how committed everybody on the LLC has been to ensuring this successful, regardless of what it's incredibly important.
Lo que está diciendo la tiene insurance que está orgullosa que estamos dedicando tiempo para que todos se puedan entender y estamos trabajando para que todos puedan tener unas aquí nosotros en el negocio.
So, you should also have a copy of the budget transfers. Next on our agenda for instance.
Which is the one sheet in the front. The one sheet in the middle. La hoja del centro.
In the defense center.
Pero estamos haciendo el presupuesto, la aprobación del presupuesto de agosto. Si buscan en el folder, electrónicamente está el presupuesto de agosto. I would say that.
Ahorita estamos mirando los las tarjetas si pueden abrir para el mes de agosto. And there are two transfer documents. One, which is directly impacts the budget, which is the August transfer. And there's something called a book transfer. Those are typically within our internal accounts. That even though it's not something mandatory for me to share, I'm trying to share everything and be transparent whenever there's money moved. So there's also a book transfer within the folder. If you don't see it there, it's electronically in our month of August. So you know what I'm saying, que hay dos documentos para el mes de agosto, uno que se llama book transfer y otro que se llama transfer de nuestro presupuesto de todo el año.
So I know it's not printed.
Okay.
That one.
That's right. You said the title of the document is book transfer?
Correct.
Okay. Is anybody unable to find that in your program? Let me just go back.
I'm going to display it now so you can see where it's located.
For those of us who can't see the screen, if you open your drive and you just go into the search bar and hit book transfer, it should come right up. For the book transfers, just for clarification, like I know you said you don't have to vote on that, is this that $2,000 elimination permit? It's like the discretionary funding?
Yeah, so for example, this is part of our internal accounts already, and we have a breakdown of how we use our student fees. These are some of the funds that we naturally are going to use from our internal accounts
Okay.
to,
So this is just divvying
yes,
that the $2,000 per year.
per department, correct.
Does anybody else have questions about the answers? Like I said, it's not the vote, it's to make sure that you're understanding anything that needs to be clarified.
Estos son los beneficios que se hacen para que nos hicimos para hacer estos gastos sobre la prueba de cada departamento, su presupuesto del año, comprando vacunas para los estudiantes para la educación física y luego también camisetas para todos los niveles de los estudiantes para tener más conexión.
Orgullo escolar.
Orgullo escolar, exactamente.
We don't vote on the vote transfers, we vote on the regular transfers.
We can vote on it collectively after you all review the month of August. Y ahorita voy a abrir los finanzas del mes de agosto. Porque sí son parte directamente de nuestro presupuesto del año.
So after reviewing the book transfer and the August budget, I motion that both the August transfer and the book transfers approved by the local school council.
What is the miscellaneous position?
The miscellaneous positions are, we open miscellaneous positions with the money left over from our, some of the funding from sports administration, so that we can begin to look for mentors that can help us mentor students.
This is what we talked about last year, right? That we're sure that we have money. Great, perfect. Just out of curiosity, what repairs are we getting done? What repairs are we getting done?
The repairs are to office spaces that lack air conditioning units, so we have to actually, you see that cardboard, or not cardboard, but that casing around the air conditioning, we need that to be installed in office spaces, otherwise, things like today.
You want to translate that and then we'll.
Sí, la pregunta fue cuáles son las reparaciones que estamos haciendo al edificio y estuve explicando que en espacios de oficina que no tienen aire acondicionado se tienen que hacer unos agujeros por la ventana y para que quepan los aires acondicionados correctamente. Y luego estaba haciendo una pregunta de las posiciones misceláneas. Y son posiciones que estamos usando los fondos que nos dieron de la oficina de deportes para poder abrir posiciones de mentores que nos van a poder ayudar a soportar los deportistas aquí, los estudiantes que juegan deportes y a poder ayudarlos ojalá en estos programas de gobierno después de la escuela y también durante la escuela.
Any other questions or comments before we move forward to vote?
The motion by Mr. Garza, and the second by Mr. Company, to approve the budget. Ms. Kern? Ms. Nicole?
En este momento estamos buscando el voto para aprobar los presupuestos. Sí.
Ms. Alvarez? Aye. Mrs. Zaragoza? Aye. Mr. Garza?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Ms. Humphrey? Aye. Mrs. Speaker?
Aye.
Mr. Familia?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Say aye.
The motion passes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Did I call you the public? Oh,
We
sorry.
did, we did it. Okay, could you please pass it? That's just the form that needs. Okay. On to the CSWP. What are you doing?
I think I'm going to go business so that there is not going to be something. And so in regards to reports, are we going to say that
Yeah, so that's still in business. We will say that you be and the,
So we you're on. So as he's setting up, I just
want to sit over here.
yeah, if you want to get a better view
We'll
of the screen.
project up here, so. Oh, move here, here over there.
So ahorita van a poder presentar. I said, so pueden abrir la presentación del CIWP. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate this moment that our assistant principals here at Foreman College and Career Academy dedicated in trying to run the program that created the CIWP, scheduling this and calling the right people to the table to put it all together. It's something that, again, I usually work with my agents on creating this, and I appreciate all of their work and time and effort. And I'm confident that we created a quality product with our two priorities that you're going to hear about presented by our agents. Thank you. Yo estoy diciendo que tengo yo mucho orgullo la presentación del plan. Tengo mucha confianza. Este es un plan escrito muy bueno por el equipo y las varias juntas que tuvimos para poder construir ese plan.
So I couldn't find a laser pointer, but so I asked Ms. Tracy for a ruler, and I got this. And then I asked Mr. Peterson for a ruler, and I got this. so I'm going to use this, but thank you both for participating. Okay, so I may pick this up to point a few times, okay? I'm going to jump into the presentation in a moment, but I just want to show you first the template that we were using. This is not going to mean anything to you right now, but I wanted to show it to you because I broke everything down in a much more easier to read presentation. So this is the template that our CIWP team was working with. It contained instructions and outlines for how we walked through creating the CIWP, how we created our team, and then how we reflected all of our priorities. And the goal here is just really to show you how much data is in this template that I'm not going to really present. So we see a lot of data and a lot of information that we created and provided and dumped into this template and worked through this whole process across several months. And so there's a lot of different tabs. And that's all I'm going to show you. This is when I'm referring to the work that we're doing. When you're seeing data and some of my slides, it's all coming from this work where we completed the template. The template is currently not available to download as a PDF. That's only after it's approved, and then it gets created as a PDF. So I'm going to move over to the presentation. So our agenda and our objectives here is that the Foreman LLC will understand what the CIWP process is, that the Foreman LLC will learn how Foreman engaged in the CIWP process, and that we're able to ask some questions, provide some feedback, and hopefully, depending on the agenda, vote to approve the CIWP today. So first of all, what is the CIWP? This is a continuous improvement work plan, which is a 3-year strategic plan that outlines the school's big projects to improve student daily learning experiences and outcomes.
I'm translating for our viewers that are logged into the call right now, our LSC members, but would someone be able to speak up for the stream? Like if they're translating portions of this for us?
Would you like me to translate? Sure. El CIWP es un plan de continuación para mejorar la escuela. Es un plan que durará 3 años y es algo que nosotros hemos trabajado en un equipo para tratar de hacer para nuestra escuela, para mejorar la experiencia de nuestros estudiantes y también para probar data y evidencia que tengan las áreas fuertes de la escuela y áreas que podemos mejorar. Y y constantemente va a estar bajo aprobación y bajo revisión para poder estar siguiendo nuestras metas, para seguir tomando data, para seguir mejorando.
So we developed the plan using evidence and data that shows our strengths and areas of improvement. The plan is constantly reviewed and adjusted across the 3 years, and we progress monitor it to ensure that we're on track to achieve the goals of the plan. So it's important to think about, when we are developing the CIWP, to think about CPS's alignment, the strategic alignment. So we look up here, the CPS's mission is to provide a high-quality public education for every child in every neighborhood that prepares each for success in college, career, and civic life. And the CPS vision is academic progress, operational excellence, and building trust. And CPS outlines 5 priorities. Go ahead.
La misión de CPS es aprobar una educación pública de alta calidad para cada estudiante en cada comunidad y preparar a cada estudiante para tener exceso, sea en el colegio, sea en su carrera o en su vida laboral. También la misión de CPS es tener progreso académica, tener operaciones excelentes y para hacer una relación de confianza.
So CPS outlines 5 priorities or foundations, so called. 2 are what's called the instructional core. That's curriculum instruction and inclusive and supportive learning. And then also connectedness and well-being, post-secondary success, and partnerships and engagement. And the purpose of all of those is that the school's day-to-day work is engaged in all of these areas in order to align our work to CPS's mission and vision.
Hay 5 áreas que CPS tiene bajo esta misión y visión. 2 están abajo la sombrilla de instrucción. La primera es el currículo con instrucción, la segunda es supportive learning, una presencia soportiva y inclusiva, y también la tercera es conexiones y mejor vida para todos. El cuarto es
Post-secondary success.
excepto después de la secundaria, y el quinto es participación y educación de las familias. Esto es para día a día trabajo y para la escuela estar involucrado en soporte y en parte de las prioridades.
El distrito. Nosotros teníamos que escoger 2 a 3 áreas donde estamos alineados con las metas del distrito. Y en este equipo se escogieron 2 áreas que vamos a seguir hablando sobre los planes que nosotros construimos aquí en la zona.
So I just shared this with Dr. Lopez so that she can look directly from her.
It's also an email that see August 4th.
Yeah. So what does this mean, strategic alignment? That the CPS mission and vision connects with our day-to-day work and our CIWP that we have created. As a school, that we are ensuring that we're focused on providing high-quality education by determining which of the 5 foundations that we should prioritize, and that these CIWP priorities become our day-to-day work at the school to ultimately ensure that the mission, the vision, and mission are reality. Now, this is everything at a very high level, and we're about to go into our work in a moment.
So, si vemos que nosotros no hemos puesto en un lugar donde estamos también de acuerdo con la misión y visión de CPS, porque la misión y visión conecta diariamente con lo que nosotros estamos haciendo aquí en la Foreman, y las 5 fundaciones son parte de nuestra institución aquí en la escuela. So, nuestra meta es asegurarnos que estamos enfocados en una alta calidad de educación, determinando que las 5 fundaciones sean priorizados aquí en la escuela y que sean parte de nuestro día aquí en la escuela.
Who can tell me what CIWP means? Continuous. The C is continuous.
Yes.
I. Improvement. W. Work. P. Plan. Excellent. Let's say it all together. All together now.
Continuous.
Improvement.
Work plan.
Boom.
Yes.
Okay. So now, in thinking about the development of our CIWP as a school, we really have to look at our vision and our mission and align it to those strategic goals and when we create the CIWP. So I would like everyone to take read this on your own. I'm going to give everybody 1 minute. That's our vision. That's our mission. The vision is where we want to go. That's where we want to be. The mission is how we get there. Okay? So there's the vision. There's the vision. 1 minute.
El Señor todavía está dando un minuto para los demás que están aquí en la junta para poder leer la misión y la visión entre ellos, pero yo lo voy a decir en español porque no está traducido aquí en la pantalla. La misión de la escuela Foreman es, nosotros estamos con la meta de tener una educación de equidad y equidad adaptación para aprender involucrando la idea de universidad, promovando académicas, soportando los estudiantes emocionalmente, su salud y probando a los estudiantes trabajando para alcanzar sus metas individuales y colectivas como equipo y para que suben sus voces poderosas y abogar por ellos mismos en un mundo cambiante. Let me take a minute for the mission.
We're going back.
Yeah, to the mission. I just want to read it again. Reconociendo la diversidad de nuestros estudiantes, nosotros tenemos la meta para aprobar, aprenderse que sea educado para las experiencias, todas las prácticas de instrucción que tenemos en nuestras fuerzas y de nuestro cuerpo estudiar. Como una comunidad y como individuales. Para aprobar un currículo que sea sobre diferentes puntos y que sea aprobado por los estándares y que también sea involucrado en la educación socioemocional y que sea relevante culturalmente y que que tenga proyectos que sean de servicio, que celebra las habilidades de nuestra población y
And I just want to bring this up because our areas of our CIWP, it refers back to our vision and mission statement. Okay. So these, once again, before I go to the next slide, these are the foundations that CPS provided, and these are within their strategic alignment. Curriculum and instruction, these are the practices within that. We don't need to read all of this. Inclusive and supportive learning, connectedness and well-being, post-secondary success, partnerships, and engagement. Really, the most important part is, well, what do these mean, right? What does this mean? All students accelerate towards grade level proficiency, okay? Over all students receive the targeted supports necessary to help them access grade level instruction. And then these are some of the practices that we can take to get there. Connectedness and well-being, all students experience safe and supportive learning communities by receiving targeted resources, supports, and interventions. And these are some of the ways that we can get there. Post-secondary success. It's written in white, more difficult to read. But all students graduate high school prepared to earn a living wage through a successful post-secondary pathway. Okay? Some of the ways we can get there. Partnerships and engagement, all students, families, and communities are empowered decision makers. So I put this up here because our CIWP team had to really think about these because we had to choose two to become our priorities. Now keep in mind that we're focused on all of these. but our CIWP is focused on 2 priorities, which we further delve into and work on throughout the next 3 years.
Y luego son los 5 fundamentos de y de los 5 de currículum de instrucción, donde quiere hablar sobre que los estudiantes estén recibiendo instrucción a nivel y que están alcanzando su nivel escolar. Inclusión y soporte tiene que ver con que los estudiantes sientan que están teniendo acceso a lo que necesitan para recibir soporte en la escuela para llegar a metas que tienen. Conexión tiene que ver con los estudiantes teniendo una escuela que es always seguro. Post-secondary o después de la secundaria tiene que ver con que los estudiantes reciben educación que les da beneficio para después de que gradúan pueden vivir una vida donde tienen maneras de trabajar y alcanzar sus metas. También el partnership quiere decir que están involucrados y están juntos con la escuela y tiene que ver con los estudiantes recibiendo que son parte de la comunidad por la escuela. Y estos 5 todos son parte de lo que está involucrado en el plan, pero hay 2 específicamente que nosotros hemos discutido para hacer un poquito más específico metas que queremos alcanzar.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
What was your reason for choosing specifically those 2 like foundations?
So we actually haven't gotten there yet because these are not the 2 books. We chose 2 of these.
Right.
2 of these.
I saw the group
Yeah.
highlights.
So these are all 5. I'm going to get there in a moment, but to answer your question, we had to choose between at least 1 from the instructional core and then 1 other.
Okay.
We could have added a 3rd, but the guidance was really to focus on 2.
Okay.
Okay? But I will explain how that.
Papi preguntó por qué escogimos estas primeras 2, pero se nos olvidó aclarar porque no hemos podido 2 instrucciones, sino una instrucción y una de las otras 3. Pudimos haber agarrado hasta 3, pero era más importante agarrar 2 que no se pudieron buscar.
Okay. Also, I just want to point out that the districts need to be large.
Yeah, please.
Okay. At points, when we get the next few slides, if anyone from our CIWP wants to interject in any way, you can. And we have a few members here, and that's going to be coming up in the next slide. So, the overall process was that we needed to develop a CIWP team. We needed to look at, we needed to reflect very deeply on all 5 of these. And then we needed to determine 2. And then with each one, here's an example, we needed to work through a process where we identified root causes for certain problems that were happening, developing a theory of action, an implementation plan, and setting goals to accomplish the things that we created here. Okay? This is a broad overview. Yeah, go ahead.
So, ver los 5 y las 5 diferentes áreas, tuvimos que agarrar un proceso para determinar cuál de los 5 íbamos a escoger para nuestras 2 metas. Y en ese proceso tuvimos que ver las razones en que tenemos esas áreas que queremos enfocarnos, qué acción vamos a tomar, qué plan vamos a implementar y qué meta vamos a alcanzar.
Okay. And our timeline was this. So beginning around April, and through now, we needed to do the following steps. And there's hours here you'll see, but start planning, okay? Create a team, reflect on all of those foundations. This says 12 to 15 hours of time because it's estimated 3 hours per foundation. Now when you see the number of teams, we had about 15 members. So each of these, multiply everything by 15, and that's the number of hours of work we put in. So developing a root cause analysis for each priority, creating theories of actions, developing an implementation plan, setting goals, and then there's some few checklists here at the end with an approval line.
Aquí está la forma que empezamos el proceso, empezamos en abril, básicamente vamos a acabar en septiembre, y abajo de cada paso, ahí se ve el horario de cómo el tiempo que tomó llegar a esta meta. Y por ejemplo, empezamos con el proceso de pensar en el plan, después escogimos el equipo, después la fundación, después la casa, después la acción, después la implementación del plan, después las metas que queremos alcanzar, después la última parte de los últimos tres era cómo vamos a aplicar eso, en qué plan tenemos con las familias y cómo lo vamos a aprobar. Y abajo se ve todo el tiempo que conseguimos esta vida.
So with the members of our team, 15, across all of these tasks, ultimately we spent over 360 working hours, which is like watching Into the Spider-Verse 180 times back to back. Okay?
Tomaron más de 300 horas en el proceso, es como ver la película Into the Spider-Verse como 100 veces.
Okay, so I think this is probably one of the most important slides because it's our team. And the purpose of the FCCA team is to pull in expertise from the building, from the school, in all areas of the building, the community, parents, and as much as we can from different partnerships. So our team was Ms. Tracy, who is an instructional lead in curriculum, Ms. Tamale, inclusive and supportive learning lead, Ms. Ghosh, who comes in as she's a diverse learners teacher, Ms. Sergeant Mangum. So we had to drop these down so kind of like the priority they would be under, so connectedness and well-being, but he works at our culture and planning team, Ms. Guy, who's really well-versed in post-secondary, Ms. Cairns, who's our LSC member and a parent and a community member, Mr. Garces, who's also on the LSC, but he's our school programmer, well-versed in instruction and scheduling in the building, Ms. Vagilon, who's our law coordinator, working on womanhood, so she's one of our community partners, and then myself and Ms. Paredes as assistant principals, but also on this list, we pulled in an ILT member, department chair, Mr. Stoker, our attendance office, Ms. Jones, a member of the security team, Mr. Curry, one of our interventionists, Ms. Valentine, and Mr. Escamilla, our principal. Okay, so a lot of experience, many years of experience from around the building and the community.
Aquí tenemos todos los representantes del equipo, diferentes áreas que trabajan aquí en la escuela, por ejemplo, Ms. Tracy que trabaja con su institución, tenemos a Ms. Tamale, a Ms. Ghosh, donde son soportes y maestras del proceso especial, señor Leonardo, que es agente, la OCT, que trabaja con el encuentro secundario, los planes secundarios, Ms. Curry, que es la presidente del School Council, el bolsillo, Mr. Garces, de currículum de instrucción, Ms. Danbury, que es parte del equipo WOW, que está trabajando para Ms. Paredes y sus novias, que son asistentes principales, Mr. Schofer, que trabaja con el departamento de ciencias sociales y el grupo de IoT, Ms. Jones, que trabaja en la oficina de asistencia, Mr. Curry, que es miembro de seguridad, y Ms. Valentín, que trabaja con justicia restaurante y Ms. Escamilla, que es el principal.
So this is a picture of our team working. This is one of our days working up in room 218. We were probably in this room for like 3 hours this day. You can see a lot of our post-its in the back, big notes posted on the wall. That's just some of us. Look how happy we are. And so coming back to these foundations now, we're going to start our work. So as a team, we had to reflect on each of these foundations. We use different types of evidence in our reflections, including student assessment data, practice ratings, stakeholder feedback, impact of our current efforts, and the following slides share some of our takeaways. Now, keep in mind we had to choose 2 of these. So what we did was across, let me just finish this and I'll come back. So what we did was across those 15 hours of reflection. So across 15 hours, several meetings, we pulled data from STAR, STAR 360, grade distribution data, access scores, 5 essentials data, IEP data, MTSS, goal setting and tracking data, a lot of data in-house that we have in our spreadsheets, EL data, infraction data, suspension data, attendance data, on track data, learn plan succeed, so that's like post-secondary data, college credits, transcripts, college persistence, 5 essentials, which is our community, parents, and student input data. So this is just a snapshot of all the types of data that we used to assess which of these 2 that we wanted to work on.
So a veces en estas 5 áreas lo que hacemos, miramos a mucha data en diferentes áreas como instrucción, comportamiento, en asistencia, en pruebas, a ver cuál de estas 5 eran los mejores para identificar para hacer el plan.
Okay, and our goal here was that we had to choose 2 priorities. So we ended up choosing curriculum and instruction and connectedness and well-being. All right? The way that we did that is, as a team, remember there's 15 of us, with all this expertise in the building, we basically posted all 5 foundations around the room, and then we thought and reflected on our own individually which 2 we felt were most important and why. And then we walked up to those sticky notes and we placed our names on it. Boom. These are my 2 favorites. Yep.
So I think that it was more like just voting. So what we did with the data that I just wanted to show you is that we kind of thought back to which 2 areas to be like kind of hyper focus on in the next 3 years that will have a greater impact moving into the future. And so we made an assessment of that, but also just to respect everybody's individual take on it, and we went into a voting session. So each of those areas was studied individually, giving it time for us to reflect, and then thinking through the past 3 years, our analysis of data, then we really asked ourselves which 2 priorities we really focus on, without abandoning the rest, we focus on that are going to allow us to have a greater impact in the greater well-being of the school. And so with that in mind, the individual members of the CIWP that voted on the 1 that they felt, the 2 that they felt were most significant, and the great, almost all of us voted on those 2, so there was a high level of agreement.
Yeah, consensus
in terms of which 2 we found to be the most impactful.
Right.
So solamente quería aclarar que cuando hicimos este voto, al final de este proceso le dimos una oportunidad a todo el mundo que ellos mismos representen su para cuál les parecía más importante. Claro, no vamos a ordenar los otros 3, de las 5 nos enfocamos en 2 sin abandonar las otras 3, pero nos enfocamos con mucha intensidad en estas 2. So, lo que hicimos es, después de evaluar toda la información, todos los datos que teníamos de la escuela, con esta pregunta en mente, hicimos un voto. ¿Cuáles de estas 2 nos van a dar un impacto más grande en nuestro nivel de apoyar a nuestros alumnos? Entonces, con esa pregunta en mente, decidimos, cada quien por su propia cuenta decidió cuál era las 2 áreas que les parecían más importantes, y decidieron que las 2 áreas serían currículo y instrucción, y luego por conexión y el bienestar de los alumnos.
And these are the exact, thank you, Ms. President, that's perfect. These are exactly the points that I hope that the CIWP members can jump in and explain the process and their experience within the process. So any of you are able to jump in at any time. So we chose curriculum and instruction, and these well-being foundations. So next, based on all of the data that we had pulled in those reflections, we then had to create a student-centered problem. So for each of these foundations. So we really had to think about what are students experiencing within that foundation that is a problem. that we need to resolve. Okay? Does anyone want to say anything about that experience? We're going through that part.
So again, I'll fill in that in this sense we did talk through student-centered problems with all 5 priorities, but then really just focus on the 2 priorities that we were going to then adapt in developing those into theories, actions, and such. So there were our analysis of we were always kind of thinking through the experience of the student. What are we seeing in the data in terms of what the student may be experiencing based on the data and based on what we're seeing as their success, academically, social, emotional, and such. And so these we're showing you the 2 that we decided to then focus on. So we did go through as an entire scene and a lot of hours of just evaluation of our data. We did think through like what is the experience. That was one of the questions that we kept coming back to is what is an experience? What are our stakeholders telling us through like centers and such? And so these are the 2 that we're sharing. Is the 2 that we ended up focusing on. So también quiero aclarar que la experiencia del alumno fue algo que siempre nos estábamos viendo en esa mentalidad. Queríamos ver, basado en los datos que teníamos, cuál era la experiencia en términos de qué es lo que el alumno estaba viendo o estaba sobresaliendo, pero los que estamos enseñando ahorita, los 2 problemas basados en el estudiante son los que estamos demostrando. I also want to clarify that we're not students that are from the problems that students are creating, it's from the students that are experiencing. So we wanted to go so we wanted to always go back to that, right? It's like what is the problem that students are experiencing that we need to address as adults in the building.
And just to highlight this exercise, as we were working on it, at times when we're studying several pieces of data, it's easy to maybe come to a quick idea of what the problem is. But then the process for us as a CIWP team is to continue to peel back that onion and ask, well, why is that problem existing? And then someone comes up with another answer. Well, why is that problem existing? Continuing to peel back the onion by asking why until we actually got to a very clear student-centered problem. So just to give you an idea of how much time we really wanted to dig deep into this area. Nada más estoy poniendo un énfasis en cómo el proceso que teníamos en la discusión en llegar a ese punto de identificar los problemas que nosotros estamos encontrando dentro de los datos que estuvimos usando y reflejando.
Solamente quería aclarar también el último punto que dice es que cuando decimos student-centered problems no es sino un problema que es creado por la experiencia del alumno, sino es un problema que el alumno está experienciando en nuestra escuela, que los adultos de esta escuela pueden enfocarse en arreglar o apoyar.
And the student-centered problems are, in curriculum and instruction, students are not seeing growth towards proficiency in reading skills, which is impacting passing grades in science and English classes, and growth in math and English standardized tests. And then, in connectedness and well-being, students are not informed as to what programs or resources are available to them. Suspension continues to be a highly used consequence, moving students from their learning environment, and connecting to classes physically as a result of cutting or absences continues to be a major concern. Okay.
Para hablar específicamente sobre el instrucción, el problema de que los estudiantes no están viendo progreso suficiente en las áreas de leer y las habilidades que necesitamos para leer, y esto afecta a sus ciencias, su literatura, también le puede afectar a su matemática y cómo ellos aprendan luego. También en la segunda área estamos viendo que los estudiantes no están informados de los recursos y programas que hay para ellos aquí en la escuela. También la consecuencia de suspender a los estudiantes todavía se está utilizando en grupos un poquito muy largos, y también que los estudiantes están perdiendo su asistencia, no están asistiendo a sus clases, y eso se está afectando.
Something I have to do before you move forward, just in terms of our practice and the notes. Really important for us to keep in mind along the process
is we had a conversation about, like, first of all, a lot of times we talk about grading in standardized tests, and we're talking about grading in English. So we broke down, is the problem in English? Is the problem that students are not reading well in any language? Or both? And what we found was both. And so when we look at solutions, we really need to be, looking at the lens of, first of all, the ESL students and the extra challenges that they're facing, we look at standardized testing, but also to recognize that there's something in reading even in their
So, cuando llegamos a la meta de hablar sobre si los estudiantes tienen unas habilidades para leer, estamos hablando de leer en su lenguaje original o leer en punto de tener unas facilidades in the language or
in the native, well, we compared the English specifically and in the native languages, which includes non-native English speakers and people who are like
o si es solamente leer en inglés. Y eran las dos cosas. Eso quiere decir que no solamente se están leyendo en inglés, sino también a veces no pueden leer en su lenguaje.
At this point, before I go to the next slide, we're going to talk about our theory of action, but now the rest of this is on a document that you all have in your folder. Okay? Because we're getting to what the ultimate result of the CIWP is. So we had to then, for each of these, think about the student-centered problem and create a theory of action. So I'm going to first lead us through curriculum instruction all the way through, and then we'll talk about connectedness and well-being. So creating a theory of action is not easy. There are several different types of activities that you can do to create a theory of action, but ultimately you want to think about the problem that you're trying to resolve, and then you're talking about, okay, if we do something, then we're going to see something happen, which will lead to something, this takes several hours to really develop a theory of action that is going to drive the CIWP across the next 3 years. So we broke up into teams. We had a curriculum and instruction team at this point, and a connectedness and well-being team now started completing this work. So our curriculum and instruction theory of action that we ultimately decided on was the following. If we implement a systematic data review structure around reading skills, then we will see teams and departments implement reading strategies and make curricular decisions to identify and address the teaching of reading skills relevant to the content, which will lead to increased growth in standardized tests and higher passing rates across all classes.
La segunda que hicimos, a ver, que si nosotros lo ponemos a mirar la data sistemáticamente sobre la meta de leer y a ver en qué equipos y departamentos podemos implementar estrategias que podrían ayudar a los estudiantes y a identificar áreas que tenemos que ayudar para aumentar habilidades institucionales, podemos ver resumen.
And I'll just take you back one slide before I continue, because I just want to remind everybody where we are. So this slide right here, we have created our team. We've reflected on foundations for at least 15 hours. We used a root cause analysis to think about student-centered problems. Then we work on our theory of action for each minor. That's where we are right now. And so within the theory of action, then the next steps are to create goals, and then milestones across years and action steps to accomplish this theory of action. So our next step after our theory of action is to work on or develop at least 2 goals that we're going to work towards within that theory of action. The 2 goals that we decided on in our curriculum instruction team are that departments will regularly review various data points such as STAR 360, PSAT, Khan Academy to inform differentiated curricular decisions and strategies
to identify and address the teaching of reading skills relevant to their content area to achieve 10% growth on Start 360 and a literacy assessment and from the DLRI to DLRI. So this is 10% growth across 3 years using Start 360 in reading.
So la primera meta es utilizando 3 años de data para ver, usando también metodologías donde estamos utilizando data todo el tiempo y haciendo cambios al círculo para beneficiar a los estudiantes y vamos a ver un crecimiento del principio del año al mismo año de estos.
And our second goal here is that we want to achieve 90% passing rate at every grade level and within every department at Foreman.
La segunda meta es tener un porcentaje del 90% pasando en cada grado, a nivel de grado, perdón, en cada departamento.
Did you have another question or respect? Oh, yes. I'm like so focused. So I think the teachers already expressed how important Start 360 is and all of these other things, but I feel like a lot of the students, even including myself, were kind of like presented with it and were like, okay, we didn't have to leave, dismiss it. But because I think that this plan is so important, I think going forward that Start 360, Khan Academy, everything should kind of be amplified of how important it really is. Not just a task that we just got to get over with, but like something that students maybe, and I know we usually give maybe like 2-3 days, but I think that now that there's something like this being put in place, that students really need to understand that how they interact with. So like, Start 360 XYZ, that it can help lead to, the implementation of the schools.
So I think, just to your point, one of the things that we do after this is we consider what are the things that we have to do differently moving forward to address the fact that many of us have discussed how potentially students were not very well aware of what the purpose was for using it and such, right? So one of the things that we're planning to do so is like next week we're going to have regular assemblies and we're going to talk a little bit about Start 360 and kind of share the entire grade level. You're going to take this test next week. This is the purpose of it. This is how we use it. And so we're going to start creating action steps in terms of how are we going to accomplish this. And then those action steps within the specific teams, like we're going to have representatives from different stakeholders, essentially sometimes also students, that are going to provide some feedback in terms of what do we have to do to address and get close to achieving this goal within a few years that we have set.
It's a very good point. And that's included, that would be included in what you're saying. It's very important. That's within this systematic data review structure. That structure that we're talking about is, part of it is messaging. It's utilizing the data and then students understanding how we're utilizing the data so that we're taking it seriously, so that we can have data that actually is accurate to inform our instruction. Right. Exactly.
How's your second organization?
So la científica Foreman preguntó a un tipo, a que ahora ella se da cuenta que Start 360 era algo que los estudiantes hacían solamente como una actividad para clase o para una calificación, no le hacían caso a lo que era. Ahora, teniendo este plan, es importante que los estudiantes entiendan y los maestros siguen comprobando que esto ahora que van a hacer, que tienen un propósito, que es escolar, pero también tiene su impacto en los estudiantes en su manera de crecer en sus habilidades.
Right. So we created the theory of action, our goals, and then we created milestones. So thinking big picture first, thinking about this theory of action and where we want to be. But then think about the CIWP is a 3-year action plan. Okay, so ultimately we want increased growth in standardized tests and higher passing rates across all classes. It's a 3-year plan. So we're thinking about the lead to where we want to be and across all 3 years now. Okay, so in year 24, this year, 2024, this is what will we see happening during each school year, right? So in 2024, this is on your sheets,
We want to build capacity among 100% of our professional learning communities. Those are our instructional leadership team, our climate culture team, our departments, our grade level teams, etc. So build 100% capacity to review and understand data from various sources, cycles for the research, identification and implementation of literacy strategies are developed. 100% of our professional learning communities and departments are implementing data cycles to inform curricular choices and strategies are being utilized. We want to see that happening by the end of 2024. By the end of 2025, we want full integrations of systems in place to make continual instructional decisions, design to improve reading instruction, and research-based instructional strategies to be implemented across our professional learning communities and departments. And then by the end of 2026, we will have established an embedded system of data review across our professional learning communities and departments to inform differentiated curricular decisions and strategies to support reading instruction across content areas and grade levels that results in 10% STAR 360 reading score growth across the 3 years and 90% school-wide passing rates. Once again, that's where we want to be. These are our milestones each year. Once again, this took several hours of work in each committee to work through this, to strategically think about where we can be, what's doable, what's within our capacity. And the next part here is small. It's on here, and I'm not going to read everything here. But then what we needed to work on is how we get here. Okay. So by the end of 2024, what are the steps that we need to take? And that's what we see here. So this is on the left side. Yeah. Which one do you want to translate?
So, para llegar a esas metas son los pasos que tenemos que tomar y es puesto por cada año para las metas que tenemos a más grandes. Y en el 24 queremos implementar 100% por todos los equipos, por la unidad escolar, un plan para tener recursos y para que frecuentemente están realizando data para seguir mejorando en qué paso van a tomar para alcanzar a nuestra meta. En el 25 queremos integración de los sistemas en todo el departamento y en el 26 tenemos el plan para llegar a nuestra meta del 90% y 30%.
And so I think it's important to understand here. I'm going to present this, but we don't need to read all of it. But I want to say what's important about this, I think. Remember, the teams that were working on developing this come from around the building, from administration to teachers to heads of departments, community members, parents, a lot of different areas. So one thing that I think is very important to think about is when we're thinking about now our action steps for just this year, what is doable? What's our calendar look like? Where are certain standardized tests in areas where we're going to be providing STAR 360? When are the breaks? When are students? When are the end of the quarters? What's happening throughout those quarters? What's within our capacity that our teams can accomplish? And so we created this. We were supposed to create at least 3 milestones for curriculum and instruction. Each of these milestones is at the end of the quarter. Okay? And then within each of these milestones, there are specific action steps that we want to accomplish that will get us to that milestone. So just for this first one here, I'm not going to go to the other ones, but we want by quarter 1 to get this started, that we want to establish and communicate a calendar with data cycles embedded and review norms and protocols around data review. Initial cycle data review and action steps are in progress. These are the things that we want to happen by the end of quarter 1. And these are some of the things in order. Like the ILT needs to establish norms and expectations around data review cycles. Our departments need to conduct reviews and revise as necessary.
Okay, our teams to establish protocols and processes for researching, identifying and selecting the literacy strategy, and so forth.
Por ejemplo,
Yes, go ahead.
por ejemplo, en la meta de instrucción y currículo a llegar a pasos más específicos, estamos viendo que mirando el calendario escolar hay 4 cuartos en cada año y en cada cuarto tiene su meta específicamente para llegar al último. Ahí están todos los pasos de que estamos haciendo en cada cuarto para llegar a esa meta y usted puede agarrar tiempo para eso.
So in terms of that, I want to point out that our goal is not to just rush to these, but I think that there's some things that we're going to recognize as we go forward. One, that we have set deadlines for ourselves to assess where we are in the progress. And so, if we're engaging in this work, and many of our PLCs have already identified what are some of the first steps that they're going to do, like for culture and climate, for example, have identified some of their first steps, that some of this further into the school year may change based on what we're experiencing in the beginning. And so we have given ourselves deadlines for a whole year, specific things that we want to accomplish. But as we're getting feedback from students, as we're getting feedback from teachers, as we're engaging in conversation, some of these things may have to be tweaked based on that. And so you have a rough draft of what we aim to do from quarter to quarter, but the fine details, I think there may be some changes based on what we're experiencing with our students and what we're experiencing with our PLCs. And then some of the things that we're learning that, hey, maybe we have to develop this skill for a little longer of a period, and so that may shift. So I'm going to jump into connectedness and well-being. With connectedness and well-being, I think that as a school, it's something that we want to value based on our population, that we want to place a lot of emphasis on. And so we said that if we develop an implementation plan addressing student connectedness and well-being areas of the mission statement, then we will see a continuous improvement cycle around culturally responsive teaching, conscious discipline, social emotional learning, centered instruction, and equitable learning practices to departments and teams, which will lead to more connected and engaged students as demonstrated by student attendance, student feedback, and student disability. Entonces, con la área de conexión y el bienestar de alumnos, lo que dijimos, la teoría de acción es que si desarrollamos un plan implementando áreas de conexión y el bienestar de alumnos basado en nuestra visión, que lo que vamos a ver va a ser un plan de mejoramiento continuo, donde nos vamos a enfocar en el aprendizaje o la enseñanza de aprendizaje cultural, la disciplina, conscious discipline, que es un sistema de disciplina, social emotional learning, que es el aprendizaje socioemocional, y en nuestra instrucción y las prácticas de aprendizaje dentro de nuestros departamentos y nuestros equipos, que va a llegar a un grupo estudiantil que va a estar más conectado y se va a demostrar eso con nuestra asistencia, lo que nuestros alumnos nos están comunicando y también nuestra data de disciplina. I have to apologize to all Spanish speakers for that horrible translation. My mom will be very mad. So our two goals were the focus on proactive and reactive measures, connecting teachers and now support staff. The overall students on the district will increase from our current around 74% to 80%, with an increase of approximately 6 percentage points overall. La primera meta que nos dimos es que enfocándonos en métodos de reacción y también de medir nuestra asistencia, va a subir un 74% aproximadamente a un 80% con una diferencia de 6%. Second goal would be the students reporting in the 5 essentials will show an increase from neutral to strong in school performance or when it comes to our school's response to school safety to fight students committing crime, violence, or bullying by focusing on conflict resolution and implementation of short practices. La segunda meta es que basado en el reporte que vimos con las 5 essentials, vamos a ver que los alumnos van a sufrir en términos de comunicar qué tan seguros se sienten durante el edificio. Nos enfocamos en bullying, enfocándonos en resolución de conflicto y enfocándonos en prácticas restaurativas. Hablando con un alumno, estamos tratando de resolver un problema. So one of these goals was more related to the connectedness with our first goal, being related to connectedness and really focusing on our students feel connected to the classroom, so they feel like they want to be connected, they want to be part of the learning community. And the other goal of being more connected to the well-being part of that connected to the well-being, they feel like the well-being of the students in the building and how they're doing not only physically, but also like the emotional safety. So our 3-year plan, we saw and started working backwards, is something which will lead to more connected and engaged students as demonstrated by student attendance, student feedback, and student discipline. So we really thought, like, how do we get to this? And then we backtrack basically what has to be accomplished from year to year. So for 2024, we said that the establishment of systems again, just similar to the other one, there's the need for us to establish these systems, or we're going to document, utilize data, and monitor the progress of our actions in increasing student effectiveness and engagement, as well as gathering student feedback and leaders. So para el año 2024 tuvimos una meta de aplicar sistemas para documentar datos, para monitorear el progreso de nuestras acciones, subiendo las áreas de conexión del estudiante y también juntando información de los estudiantes por sí mismos. By 2025, we wanted to see higher levels of restorative practices utilized and intervention with the aim of enhanced relationship building among all stakeholders. So para el año 2025 queríamos ver niveles de respuestas restaurativas, no nada más del esquema o todo el edificio, para enfocarnos en crear unas relaciones entre los productos del edificio y los alumnos del edificio. Y para el año 2026, by 2026, our goal was we will see a high level of student participation and engagement in classrooms, student-led organizations, student extracurricular programs, student leadership and agency. First, we will see fewer students committing actions. Para el año 2026, creando esos sistemas donde el alumno siga siendo más conectado a la escuela, vamos a ver más participación en organizaciones, en extracurriculares, pero también vamos a ver al otro texto que el número de infracciones de disciplina iban a bajar. So similar to the previous one, what we did is that we set that first year goal, and then we created milestones for ourselves. Within those milestones, then we have developed action steps that are going to help us accomplish those milestones. So what I can tell you about these milestones is that many of our PLCs have already started implementing these milestones, and have already started planning for well, what is the first thing that we would have to do in order for us to just really get the ball rolling and set some clear goals for ourselves and assess our success in meeting these goals that we set for ourselves.
Just one more slide here, which is, these are, just to give you an idea of how much time we spent on this, these are meeting dates with those, what we just walked through. Usually each of those meetings are at least 3 hours, all the way from day to day. And then, so, like I said, 180 Spider-Verses.
Can you go back up to the picture? Y solamente las próximas dos slides tienen que ver con las fechas de que se reunieron como un equipo y cada uno carga como 3 horas, para que usted pueda ver cuánto tiempo se puso en el
Before we move forward with deciding whether or not to go, initially having the vote, going over our 7 fundraisers, all of the reports, all the presentations, why do we take a quick break? We're probably parents to check in with.
Yeah, just kind of excited for a couple minutes. It's a meeting,
He wants to.
And would that be okay? I think it's going to take like 25 seconds.
For which part?
For the fundraising vote, I'm assuming it's okay if we have money.
He only has, so for clarification purposes, he only has 2 items that I think is in the second sheet and 2 sheets after the second and third, I think, the second and third sheet.
Is it really weird jumping? I can't think it's fun there versus here. With that, I'm part of the agenda.
Fundraisers are on the agenda, we're just gonna bump sections.
And just for future reference, we typically do prioritize people who are coming in as speakers, like in terms of order. This is just because we get usually we'll get to you more quickly if you have conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, fantastic. So, do I need to stand up? For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Ben Peterson. I'm the band director and girls basketball coach here at Foreman. I appreciate all the work that you all are doing, staying late and making sure that we have a good wrap on everything. So thanks for all the work that you all are doing. So just very briefly, the fundraiser request that we put in is simply to collect a suggested donation at the door of our spring and winter concerts. We have a $10 suggested donation. It is not required to pay to come into our concerts. We want to make sure it's accessible to everyone. But we do collect that cash at the door. So that is open for you all's approval.
How many services do we get to show up for parents?
Last year, I had, in my beginning band, I had about 50 students on stage. The chorus, I believe, had about 25, and my jazz band had 10. And it's grown every year since we started.
And the parent participation is big too.
Yeah, we have over 130 students in band right now. So, very exciting.
Connecting $200 from all those.
That's about what it's been. I'm hoping that number will grow, but that's about what it's been with the suggested donation.
There's more better.
And this is, I just want to emphasize, this is not a first-time request for this type of fundraising from our fine arts team. So this is a common request that we've been having ever since we've established our performances or our festivals throughout the school year.
Any questions or discussion before we Mr. Garza?
Aye.
Mr. Tanya?
Aye.
Ms. Humphrey? Aye. Mr. Speaker?
Aye.
Mrs. Sarabuka? Aye. Ms. Alvarez? Aye. Ms. McKay?
Okay, we're going for the fundraisers to support fine arts.
Ms. Domingo? Motion passes.
Thank you very much, y'all. Next time I'll bring you pizza.
I will.
Can we give Sergeant Miles a chance to also share, since he's also waiting for us to say how we're planning?
So, and Sergeant Miles is also giving us an update on the last fundraiser for the end of the school year, and then a proposal for this upcoming fundraiser for this school year.
All right, real quick, good evening, everyone. Everyone of you, I think, has met me one way or another, but if not, I'm Sergeant First Class Miles, Senior Military Instructor for JRCC here at Foreman College and Career Academy. And what you have before you, as far as JRCC and the fundraiser, is not a proposal for a fundraiser, but the first one should be the closeout in reference to the fundraiser we started last year. You should see the amount that was paid out to the company in which we got received the candies from, and then you should Then you should see at this time a gain or profit that we receive based on what the students within JRTC has already sold as far as the candidate side. Then you should see on there's approximately 70 boxes that have been sold, and the students did a fantastic job. Can you contest to
I
that?
can definitely put that. ROTC was working there for you, so.
Yeah, they jumped in, they before the candy was even received and pulled off the pallets, they were like, I want 10 boxes, and then they went forward, and I tell you, they did it with such enthusiasm and energy, and they made it happen. Out of the 105 boxes we received, we have 35 boxes left. So the second sheet you should see there is not a proposal, it should be just a continuation of the 105 boxes that we received.
So that's a clarification, we only have one sheet, which is the sheet of the upcoming fundraising. Right?
So we have.
Yeah, before we have this just going over your projection for now through December.
Yes.
Yes, and I did ask you for an update, so appreciate you.
The other paper is on the folder, I'm sorry, the information that he's talking about, the documents he's talking about, is the closeout is on the folder that was shared.
Okay, oh, okay, it's just not on the board website.
It's not in here, no,
Okay.
it's not in the package. Right.
So we have the remaining 35 boxes to sell. Now, that's considered as a proposal for fundraiser. It's just a continuation to complete what we started last year.
Yeah, and just because we had a chance to check in, but to make sure, I know you and I had a chance to check in with update them. Those boxes are already paid for, the exact payment was due. So at this point, the remaining boxes are carrying over. It is just saying, let's go ahead and move forward with continuing for the money and being everybody. I love that.
So I move to approve the continuation of the last sales of these World's Finest Chocolates for this school year. All I need is a second.
Second.
I've had my fish.
Yes, I love that on a personal level, we can do stems.
We'll go to roll call for vote. Ms. Carnes?
Aye.
Ms. Malenko?
Yeah.
Aye.
Ms. Albright?
Aye.
Mr. Garza?
Aye.
Mr. Speaker?
Aye.
Ms. Humphrey?
Aye.
Ms. Carnes?
Aye.
All right, and Ms. McKay?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for your time.
Ooh, y'all just made a bunch of foods real happy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to look at 5 drinks. Or, check it out here, the children.
We're calling over the box rights and cluster.
Any objections?
Use the board to listen.
Can you, Mr. please let them know that we have to have minutes?
So we'll return in
It's right. Yep.
Yes.
How much are you gonna pay for the?
Hello.
Pretty much we need to eat.
What? 100. The box comes in at 60. The box comes in 60. We can only sell.
So they could become something like this and get other small businesses captured in financial system. But also only the system so the local communities have all the so that's one of the things that I'm sure they're visiting
It's better than looking at that. Thank you for that. We're gonna go. If you want to do it, everything is great. So thank you for like, hey, FYI, Dr. Lopez, Joe Good Stash. You're welcome to share.
And the community. Yeah. So, stop instead of,
one of the employees there, she's managing that, goes
okay.
yeah, so just her eyesight, and then she'll
Thank you very much. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. No problem. Yes. Good news.
Regresemos a si tienen preguntas, dudas, comentarios, para dar sus opiniones. Great idea. So a lot of communities doing these.
We've been doing it longer for about 3 years now. I think they're very cost, and I guess they don't choose professionals that like this, we are in so solid. So we can do it in $30 really cost. Which is good because there's a lot of seniors that have been what's on the page? That's the I don't know.
I did not believe you made it like, so usually it's
Yes.
okay. Are they rehearsal?
No, they're not.
It's funny, I don't have to look at it like that.
You have to drink a bottle of water in a moment.
I'm not joking.
It's more like a service there. Right now, it's just.
Every single one of the symptoms except for that.
Another example here, I will take on this.
Just always tell me if you need me to slow down. Yeah, I have a lot of
Might smell. I like sports.
As you're review update families on projected time, how long do you think your presentation will be for?
I'm already thinking of what areas to cover, yeah. The most important things that'll make the scope.
Yes. And then just having that semester to get to the more, like, it's a standard item, but the updated search they haven't started yet.
Okay.
Okay. Are we all ready to review? Next. Do we have a motion to vote on approving the CIWP as it stands in its entirety tonight? Great. We'll have the motion will the second needed.
I just have, oh, sorry.
No, I'm just gonna answer this current question. Go ahead.
Yeah, we will also.
I just have one question. How will you guys upkeep the CIWP past 2026?
Okay.
If you guys have thought that far. I was just
After
curious.
that, we do here.
After 2026.
Yeah.
So, what happens is, it's a continuous work plan that, in 2026, we will revisit the CIWP. So you can always continue with the same foundations and the same areas of action, or you can, at that point in time, maybe 3 years from now, we made some great improvements, and maybe this is all in motion and we want to focus on something else. So, we changed, for example, from last CIWP from a couple, like NPSS is one, and now we have NPSS structures in place, right? So we thought we can move on to something different, as an example. So it's constant progress monitoring, and revision. And so when we get to that point, we can change course if we want, or stick with these priorities.
Even if something isn't in a CA review, like if any, you know, like it doesn't mean overriding your teaching. You know, the teaching is always ongoing. You're always looking at ways to make it better. Just like if this doesn't go forward, it's not like some of the things that can go forward. Just as the way that we do things. Along with the fact that like just because there are things not in there, we don't start being off of that. I would expect that if you see that certain things are working well, we would become more like perfect for me. Correct.
And then also just to continue to answer the question, the district revisits with all schools a new CIWP process, just like they did with us here. So to Mr. Sikovic's point, at that time the district will announce, hey everybody, it's another CIWP here. Get your teams together, discuss what you want to do, continue some of the same goals, some of the same work, or rewrite an entirely new CIWP.
But I want to mention, this wasn't in the slide, because you're asking how do we continue past 2026. I think also it's important to know that even through 2026, this year, next year, the year after, there are very specific progress monitoring checks throughout the whole process where teams are held accountable, where specific people are held accountable, and actions taken if we're not meeting certain goals that we've targeted. And so it's a constant progress monitoring process and reflection process and potentially revision process. And these are two of the revisions that are brought to school.
For the CIMP, has there been a plan or has there been surveyed or planned to survey students to find out what the causes of their low tendency?
So, part of the focus on children is don't think by students, but in terms of like really understanding the problem, we are going to look into like what are some things that we learn from students. So I work with the discipline office. That's one of the areas I support early, not discipline, but a part of legislating and more restorative intervention office. And in that, we're always looking to learn from students what is keeping them from going to classes. So a lot of the behaviors that we're learning and we're dealing a lot with, I shared out data at the end of last year, I shared out data at the beginning of this week, is a lot of the infractions that we're seeing are high confidence around classroom avoidance, or like loitering and walking in the hallways and such. And so that is an area that I think that we have to go more deeply into. One of the things that I gathered feedback from teachers at the opening week is like, what are some things that you want us to look into? And I said, well, can we look at, are students cutting a specific class during the day? Are they cutting a specific period? Is there some time during the day that is impacted more? And I think that we have the data from dashboard. We have data from our internal resources that has even more light to the problem. But we also look for like what are some gaps in data that we're missing and how do we start gathering them?
Somebody from the attendance office was going to present at some of the meetings. Somebody was invited to teach us who were invited to certain sessions. And she did confirm that a lot of students are in the building are students in classes. And she also did confirm that they're not 100%, but that there are trends that in certain classes be more than others. And I was not aware of the team that she was on to hear how much data, but she did see that in some of the cases she said the students and get feedback on what is going on in the classroom. And looking at is there something specific there, avoided or just not feeling a perfect environment. But yes, I would love to see this include talking to students and also think that the conversation should have been involved in this. Because there's so much contact about those things that it would have been really helpful to have their feedback on what they're hearing from students. And I think also something we need to consider like getting student input. There are questions that we don't have to ask that will occur to you guys to say, hey, if you're checking in under 10 minutes, which is naturally your brain is differently than ours. And I think that's really important for us to be looking at it, thinking for the students and the voice.
But I will say, what you point in terms of getting comfortable with what, I think this year was a little odd for us that the CAWP, most of the planning was during the summer, because it then almost limited in terms of what some of the numbers were. So we did invite counselors to be a part of those number of meetings, and then they were not able to make it.
So I noticed on the invitations that went out that they were not including most of those invitations. I think that was an unintentional oversight. And I did check in just to confirm that that wasn't that, like, they had requested to be, or at least one of them had requested to not be included. I was told that that was not the case, and she was not receiving invitations other than attending once. And then the social worker was not, and neither was Stephanie, who does not like IUPs and silent words, and so recognizing that some of those conversations.
Yeah, and again, we did speak to the DL team in terms of the representative, and Ms. Wu was working in a different program this summer, so one of the representatives was the coach, so she was there. Thank you for your
And you want to point out as well?
But she was not doing those.
And again, that's the challenge of they're seeing in the summer is that at some point, some of our members had medical issues that they had to address, and so that was one of the challenges, and that's why to keep that fidelity to having multiple representations, that's when we started also inviting our security members, we started inviting the attendance team, we started inviting the social interventionist members, and so because we didn't want it to be just one area of the building, we wanted to be able to have multiple representation. We acknowledged there was absence from some of our members, so we were reaching out to other people to add that diversity of perspectives.
Also, I think it's important to note that as directive and best practices of CIWP, this is from CIWP across decades, is that the team needed to have 8 people and no more than 12. So you really have, and I think that the idea there is you want as much expertise as you get, but keep the group so that you can be focused and work.
And honestly, I would like to point out that the fact that we use so much data from different sources, from the private essentials, from teachers, and input through the private essentials, the student input through the private essentials, as well as the parent survey. All that data and all the information that we got is practically getting their voice as well, of all the stakeholders. It, just the team decided, we worked as a team to look into that information and come up with what is the CIW.
Well, I just think perhaps maybe having a lot of the student reps, like, distribute some kind of anonymous
That's the data we've used, yes.
So one of the things I want to share about the student data is in terms of part of essentially including our student reps. So that's one of the things that I was trying to get off the ground with our student reps last year in the surveys that they were putting out, and then bringing the information back to our ILT or bringing this information back to our counselors. And so this is room for you all to consider, perhaps like connecting or creating a survey around one of our CIWP goals that you can see perhaps or measure growth. So that the survey doesn't change. Maybe we issue a survey that you can come up with questions. Like just a quick example, we were talking about attendance earlier. Like what example of a question, what class do you like attending the most? Right? English, math, blah, blah, blah. Or we can even put a teacher's name just to be completely transparent. So you ask those same questions at the beginning of the year and again at the end of the year to see if things change, right? Or if that set of data of the survey that you all create, we can bring back to our teachers, and then they can do something about it, and then maybe you can do a survey in the middle of the school year or another one at the end of the school year, and then you can can see the actions that teachers committed to made a difference. So you can, this is a role that you can definitely take part in, or even take it back to another student group. We talked about it last year about perhaps using the student reps to beef up our student voice committee, and maybe calling like a student voice government, so that people can have titles and roles, but something to think about.
Yeah, I definitely want to add on. I think utilizing a survey would definitely be, I could definitely see the benefits to it. But honestly, like, I give more feedback about what to skip, like, in the bathroom while I'm like want to leave class and I'm like tired. So, but I would say, like, this is just something that I like kind of just wanted to express. I would say really the trend is usually just like, oh, there's someone in this class I don't like. Oh, I don't like the teacher, or I honestly just don't feel like going to class. And I feel like that's kind of just like the general consensus that I usually get. But I feel like, I don't know, for some reason, usually when there are surveys, I feel like people just kind of like overlook it because it's like, okay, whatever. But when you put that spotlight on a student, like, here's your time to talk, they'll talk. Like, they'll run their mouth about how they don't like a teacher, how, you know, this work is boring. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yes, they will, like, they're willing to tell you, like, so. But yeah, I would definitely say I would want to utilize surveys, but also then again, just getting like one-on-one conversations with students would be really beneficial, and not even trying to like single kids out. Like, I would say maybe, you know, trying to pick out some kids that you see normally skip, or even kids that don't really skip. Like, how do you just feel about insert teacher? Just kind of getting a general census like for everyone across the board on, you know, how you feel about like skipping in general period, or why someone would. Like, as I don't really skip the most often because it's a really long bathroom break, but it's really just like, it usually just comes down to like one of the three things where it's just like, I don't feel like it, or, you know, I don't like her and I'm seated right next to her. But yeah, that's kind of just my input on it.
I need something that's mentioned to myself next to right now, his friend.
Yeah.
And by my son, repeatedly, was even just like, I miss my friends. I really want my friends.
That's a lot of it. It's a lot of skipping and then meeting up with everyone.
It's not even about avoiding the class.
It's about to see your friends.
On the subject of data, you have these access to look at with 5 central surveys. How many students responded, how many parents responded, and how many community members responded, or is that not easily accessible?
That's, you mean like right now in a second, or?
Yeah. But I'm going to quick pull up right now. Because if it's not, I don't want to, like,
Yeah, I would have to.
it literally takes a minute. And then also, I have some documents that we were supposed to have as part of all of this. Do we have them easily accessible now?
Okay, so David, do you mind, let me look for the 5 essentials just to answer that question for now. But to verbally answer the second question is I'm looking for this document. The list that you sent me, I wanted to showcase within our website where all these things are made accessible and available to everyone on the local school council. And so, Nestor, do you mind if you have jump on that one?
Julian, do this.
What's that?
Are you pulling up the documents?
I think it's one section. Just local school council meeting. Is in parents, local school council here. And then the resources.
No, so.
What are you looking for?
Also, we did this. The guidance that we got was in, the principal was here, and let's see, the current statute,
Right, it's right here.
the current budget and the CPS budget codes, the internal account reports. Yeah, parent involvement policy, the school report
Like
card.
60% students,
60% of students or 60%
60%.
responded were students?
60% of our students responded to the life session survey, and 65% of our teachers responded. I don't think I would see parent percentages.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, these were responding parent percentages as opposed to just amount of them. Right.
Yeah,
We are looking at the current position report, the school organizational,
so the school positions report are provided in every single folder of every single knowledge.
So you guys would consider.
So that's just information that needs to be provided, but we're not necessarily voting on anything about positions, but they're in every single month of every single folder.
To the voter, that's
Yeah, and there's some of these are like, I don't know. So I know what that is. That's the list of all of the people who work here, not by name, but by.
The current CIWT is found here. This past school year's Illinois State Report Card does not yet exist. It has not been put out. But I believe the one you have here on the website will give you access to 21-22. The positions list by role or responsibility within the school. Oh, that's current CIWT. Towards the end of this current CIWT, you'll find that one of those documents that you have on the list was the compact, the family compact. It's all the way towards the bottom of this one page of this. Right there, you see that's parent budget and family compact. The staff faculty list by role or responsibility can also be located on our website. I think in comparison to many websites, you'll see how beautifully we populate our with photos. I think we only have like 3 photos, like 3 photos missing. But I think this is what also continues to nurture that culture. You can go to some other school's website, they just have a list of names. And then you can click on any of these and then contact them as well. So it'll send them directly an email.
This is the question now is just, we did vote to approve, or we voted and approved to go back and approve the vote. I know that we're approving the CIU right now, as is, or not, so we need to go ahead and pull that vote to really get to the discussion on that and move forward to the press part. Thank you.
Explicándonos, pueden encontrar ciertos documentos por nuestro sitio web, donde está la página de padres y luego del concilio escolar pueden encontrar los documentos que están haciendo las returns para poder revisar a cualquier momento. Y luego también recordando a todos de la carpeta que se da de cada mes para el concilio, donde se pueden encontrar esos ciertos documentos también.
Questions or comments before we start the call for the vote? And we have to start that because we need to begin. I would like to give them the chance to begin early. No, for Mrs. McCain, I feel like people like doing the thing.
So, quiero ver a la señora Kearns un momento para la señora McCain, para ustedes, señora Flamenco, si tienen ahorita comentarios, preguntas sobre el plan de la policía en el cases right now she does not have questions. Señora Flamenco, ¿tienes preguntas, comentarios, preocupaciones?
Una forma con respecto a los alumnos, a los muchachos de que con la asistencia, lo que estaba hablando de que también despiertan ellos con la confianza de hablar con los maestros. Yo siento que eso es parte de la yo detectarse cualquier cosa que existe o cualquier cosa que ellos piensan que hacer, la confianza de decírselo a alguien, a sus padres, así que puede decir que un maestro o alguien de la escuela tiene esa confianza que uno de los principales yo a veces hasta la ofensa que tienen de por qué van a acercar con ellos. Yo creo que hay que trabajar.
So I can translate, but if anyone else want to translate, this is a parent's point of view. Hannah, I don't know if you want to share what you took away from Ms. Lorenzo's input?
Says that you know that for students along the way to the program is giving them give them the opportunity to have trust or if you say communication with teachers. So will give them confidence to talk to the teachers when like you say like certain needs that it is really important to build that connection. If you want finally under the program get focused on that if this is like the strong one so that the students really feel comfortable to talk to it. That's just right at the end.
Yeah.
For this rather so what you really been for the students and the teachers so they can learn from each other.
Appreciating that we're focused on connectedness and well-being so that there is more of a focus for students and teachers to build trust one another, but mainly so that students feel more and more comfortable in communicating with their teachers if and when there's issues. And specifically because we were talking about the concern of attendance, of why students don't necessarily communicate to why they don't like their classes or what they don't like about their teachers, improving that teacher-to-student trust is important and makes sense of why we're focusing on that in the CLA.
I think it's a really important and challenging conversations came up. Not challenging as in the people in the room are problematic or anything, but hard conversations to have about some of those reasons and questions and things like being FCCA and culturally relevant curriculum sort of thing. And so, in addition to what made it into the plan, a lot of that really came out in the process of aspect to their student experience in order to make obstacles that we face that really need to be addressed thoroughly. And just actually like being a hard. Being a teenager coming out of the pandemic is hard. Like the loss of normalcy that people are still really adjusting. So I think everybody in the room, that was something that I don't think anybody did choose that as a priority. We were all very much in agreement. This is a huge need for the students, and I think actually active we talk about all these for families and
Como usted, señora Flamenco, también tiene orgullo cuando estamos en construcción de este plan, que no había nadie que estaba de acuerdo sobre enfocándose en el bienestar de los estudiantes, especialmente saliéndonos de la pandemia y enfocándonos en mejorando esa confianza para los estudiantes durante este tiempo.
I would like to say we talk about this and other things. In terms of us all being committed to really looking at how we can function as an LC better and in our specific roles. We have gotten into a pattern, and I know that there's a lot of transitions, and we, myself included, had a lot of clarity. We feel like we've gotten into a part of a lot of last minute rushes. And regardless of how this vote goes tonight, we really established the need to move forward for a lot of documents in advance and notice and things so that we don't keep putting ourselves in these positions of doing votes where it's like we feel like we have enough time to prepare. And this is something that we intend to look at subsequent meetings and looking at possibly market committees and doing more frequent check-ins in anticipation of some of the decisions that we have made there. And I think we really need to set a vote this year saying, let's make sure that we're being thorough and we're really, taking these things seriously and doing our jobs as well as we can.
instead of having ourselves into corners where we feel rushed to process a lot of information on this, on budget, on value, all sorts of things. It's not just this. But we did finish the law committed to doing that. And I think it's just a prime example of that. And like I said, this is a matter we all fall into, for all of us who were here last year, so that's something we have to share responsibility, but moving forward, we need to make sure we are all on our
Yeah, and I think that's a fair request, and just to share with you my vantage point, and as a leader and principal of this school, often things that are taken for granted, and I have some of my team members here, that although we run a school of roughly 600 students, we are very well versed in our community and what are the experiences that our students have in and around our community. How difficult it may be that some people just say well, Foreman has this student population of roughly 600 students, but we have less resources to work with. So when the bell rings, we are superbly busy from bell to bell, after school, after dismissal, unlike schools that have plenty of resources, plenty of luxuries, because they have a larger population and a larger budget to tap into. They have endless number of assistant principals, they have endless number of clerks, they have endless number of staff, that unfortunately I continue to tap into the same staff over and over. Everyone in cultural climate is in my ILT. Everyone in my ILT is in my grade level teams. And it's very unfair sometimes. And I'm not going to throw any shade in your comments, because I know that you're just a concerned parent, and I've appreciated your input ever since I met you. But to say that we're not putting like 100% of that effort is just like slightly insulting, but I'm not going to take it as that. I'm just going to take it as and deserve when we get better, because we are just so underserved as a school, and it's just not fair. No one is ever going to throw money, ever. And so I'm here always advocating for our school, which is one of the slides in my presentation that I don't know if I'll get to tonight. But we are working tirelessly.
And somebody who spends a lot of time in the building, I absolutely, I am well aware of that. And I also know, and I think everyone of us who was on the LSE last year is well aware of the fact that some of these are things, like the district have a lot of obstacles on the budget. It's unfortunate that there are a lot of things that we are working in that make everybody's job here extra challenging, including just where the families in this community are dealing with. We have people coming in on buses from Texas, people from other countries. And so it's not meant to be, I'm going to get ready for you. It is, we should all be constantly reassessing how can I make this go smoother so that we can function really well as a team. And some of that is exactly what we're talking about, having to see outside of this. To say, hey, these are the reasons. Like I signed petitions last year trying to get more time on our budget going through the district and central districts, because it was a really large position that every school district was but just making sure that we're saying, look, these are the circumstances that we're in, and how can we collectively move forward in a way that will allow us to move more effectively.
Yeah, no, I think that's should and can always be a question. And I just want to point out that we, like, just in small comparisons, and I like to lead by what I see within my school, not ever necessarily comparing myself to another school, but we are checking everything off the list of what's required to run an LSE. There was no LSE at Foreman. I see the benefit of an LSE at Foreman. That's why I worked my butt off in order to create an LSE at Foreman, to give my community, my parents, an opportunity to have more of a voice, rather than just lean on the network or the central office to help you run the school. That to me doesn't make sense. That's why I worked in developing an LSE. We try to innovate in our communication through our website in the way we communicate, whether it's emails, cell phones, using our Google Drive to create Google folders, and then now creating a paper folder. Like, we're always trying to see, how we can improve. This is not necessarily a requirement by me. I have to adopt one method, right? And I have to try at least my best to adopt one method, like whether it's an in-person meeting or whether it was a virtual meeting back during the pandemic, but adopting that one method. I sometimes don't really want to overexert myself because of how tiring this work is. When I know that another school with like 15 assistant principals and a myriad of support staff can easily do that. You know, and I feel far beyond the expectation, already checking my expectation on the list, and it's just very difficult and very tiring. But I do this because I know my school, I know my students, and I know the needs. And I'm going to continue to do it, but I just want to defend my team and myself a little bit because I feel like neighborhood high schools and small neighborhood high schools are often overlooked. And I've had plenty of conversations about just this community. I just don't see the support within this community of caring enough for their neighborhood high school. And we need to make it a viable option. And I would appreciate a little more understanding, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to work a little bit harder to make the improvements, and I hear you.
Well, and this is not just about you. I mean, this is why I joined the LSC is after conversations with you and thinking about like, what role do I have to play and how can I contribute it? So it's really saying every one of us can sit down and say, you know, do I need to communicate that? Do I need to put out outside resources? For me, that's been reaching out to other LSCs and saying, hey, how can we learn from you? Because we don't have a history of a long-standing functional LSC. So how can we benefit from the people who do? From I think influence, right? It's not only have leadership that they have, but hey, parent to parent, how are we very different? And so everybody in this room then being able to bring those resources of their own and saying, how can I bring myself into this? This is not about criticism, this is not about any one person or any one team. It's saying every one of us, and this is why things like talking about goals is great. Talking about, Mr. Ursus and I had conversations about like how much time do we think would be helpful to have agendas, to have documents out, like how do we make sure that, am I requesting things in a timely manner, to make sure that we're all looking at that instead of just putting all of that on administration as a whole or on the system. And Senior would say that I really appreciate the students this year. Last year was tricky. We were meeting virtually, there was a lot of connection, but you guys really came out like ready to advocate and ready to share your ideas. I think that's going to be so incredibly helpful for us to move forward.
Estamos hablando sobre los esfuerzos que ponemos con la escuela y los puntos de la presidenta Kearns de cómo podemos posiblemente mejorar y una lista de la escuela y de cómo trabajamos día a día en comparación con otras escuelas que tienen más dinero, más trabajadores y es algo diferente y más difícil en una escuela más grande. Pero mi dedicación es para la escuela y para seguir mejorando y tenía gente de eso y que se quiere seguir ahí. Nada más tratando un poco de su opinión en este tema.
I just want to bring up a point at this time is that, we have students here that have to go home now. And I don't know for the sake of time if we can come up with a consensus of where we're going to go from this point now. So, estoy hablando en relación al tiempo y que tenemos los estudiantes aquí y el tiempo extendido que hemos estado aquí reunidos en esta junta. Quisiera tratar de tener una conversación de qué vamos a resolver en este momento.
So, I move that we approve the CIWP as presented by Foreman administration. And I would just need someone to initially second that so we can run it through a vote.
I do now have better authorization. Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Ms. Alba? Aye. Mr. Speaker? Aye. Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Ms. McKay?
Y, señor Flamenco, si quiere aprobar la votación del CIWP.
Sí, I,
Aye.
Motion passes.
I want to make another motion
yeah.
about the agenda, and I don't know if this is applicable or not, but to leave the next item to the agenda for the next meeting, if that's possible, or?
I would be sure.
Well, and then we have the principal too, but really, this is long.
I agree. I
This is-
I really wish that we had all that, like, and separated it for the sake of time at once.
And I can spend more time on this at our upcoming meeting, but I'm just going to share with you some bullet points of interest. So right now, this time last year, at the 20th day, well, roughly this time last year, this was at the 20th day of the school year, we had 601 students. And during orientation, I had a projected number of 626 students to be enrolled here at Foreman. As of today, 88% of that 626 students projected have reported. So now our work right now, as we open up the school year, is to continue our communication and finding out where those students are at and why they have not yet arrived.
Is this your report?
Yes.
Can we rip up fundraisers first, because they were still on the, like, when the new business actually was. Here's another,
Sorry.
like,
Oh, okay.
sorry, I just want to make sure
Yes.
that I might forget.
I forgot Dr. Wolf. I thought we had scratched that out part of this.
You approve it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
For the coffee bean, we do this every year. You know, across the coffee bean, because the teachers are kids that skills to the cluster and on some of the extra things that we do for our students. So the proposal there, have any questions?
No.
Yeah. Can we?
It's only the copy being the one?
Huh?
I thought I saw three. Can you mention all three so we can vote?
Okay. I didn't know how that worked. So we do the monthly fundraiser of the lunches, we do the coffee shop picnic, and I think the one for the orientation already passed and was not approved anyway, so just two have to be approved today.
And then there's one from the athletic department, also drafting, so that vote's made in the one fundraising vote. Yes. They want to sell shirts and hoodies.
Oh, and there's a flyer here about that.
Yes, the flyer is attached.
Yeah, so it's requested by McCain's, it's not here that the information is here.
And it will be posted on the website, right? Whoever's, after we approve it, they will post it on the website for.
I can make that suggestion too. Yeah, and just to note for those people who, they are not required to be here, so if we choose to come to it, if they have questions, they can answer them.
So the benefits of the selling of the shirts for Coach James, our athletic director, is meant to continue to provide equipment and all sorts of things for our their variety of sports.
Yeah,
And
it's just really for the general athletic center.
yes, correct. And Dr. Lopez, I want to emphasize that what she's trying to accomplish through this fundraising effort is also teaching those students life skills. They make the sandwiches, they place flyers for orders, they serve the coffees, they do a small exchange of that money, and so all of these things help them their communication skills and their general life skills as they envision themselves perhaps taking on jobs like this outside of work.
So I move that the fundraising for the coffee, for the athletic, and there was the third one,
The sandwich lunch.
the sandwich lunch, be approved, I motion that it's approved by the law.
I second that.
Okay, can I just follow in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Yes.
Aye.
I think we
It can also be a show of hands.
Yeah, I think we should.
And over there, si vamos a aprobar el presupuesto del coffee bean del programa Crossfit, si vamos a aprobar el presupuesto, o no el presupuesto, la recaudación del fondo del coffee bean, si vamos a aprobar la recaudación del fondo de los uniformes para deportes, para el programa atlético, y queremos saber si ustedes están a favor de eso. So, para Ms. Alas, si lo aprueba. That's right, my bad, Ms. McKay. Ms. Flamenco, señora Flamenco. Ok, aprobado. Debo cerrar. So, el director está haciendo la presentación en este momento.
So again, I just wanted to highlight our attendance thus far, and I know that we continue to enroll more and more students. I want to, I'm confident that hopefully we'll end the school year between 650 and 725 students, which shows a major increase. Hopefully it allows me to advocate for more staff here. And I was just welcoming teachers and counselors. Some of these staffers had been hired last year because of leaving positions open. But we have a relatively larger staff at Foreman for our team. We're still hiring, as I mentioned earlier, the miscellaneous positions, we're still hiring. We're still onboarding, meaning that the district is still in the process of hiring a lot of special education classroom assistants. Those always come to us based on student needs, but we have, this is just to show that we're growing in population and in staff size. This is a big warm welcome to our new LSE members that we welcome along the way. Some of our highlights from our school website, but I will skip this. Just to emphasize our existing programs here and how they continue to grow. We have our CTE digital media and engineering. We have JROTC programs. Those top 3 programs are what students can apply for during Go CPS or elementary schools. But something to note is that our ESL or bilingual program continues to grow. We are over 43% of our entire student population are in the bilingual program. We have our diverse learner program, specifically our cluster program that helps support students with more moderate to severe needs. And then we have, this is a quite overlooked point in exploring computer science. We have a 2-year level of exploring computer science that not a lot of high schools have. Exploring computer science is a graduation requirement, but we have a level 2, which also afforded us laptops, so that students can explore app development in that level 2 of exploring computer science. That level 2 isn't elective for students who have that inclination, but we have a lot of money and growing programs here at Foreman. I mentioned we are better together because this is where all of you as an LSC can now think about Foreman, think about our programs, and consider maybe we can be a little more innovative in this school year as an LSC of what we can do to continue to help our school grow. So do we want to run a fundraising campaign of our own? Do we want to participate, have more direct involvement with friends of Foreman? Do we want to initiate a letter campaign to politicos around Chicago where we're highlighting certain things about our school and certain needs? Sky's the limit in what we can offer as an LSC and what we can brainstorm together. This is just a recent picture of a day ago. I had the fortunate news from our librarian, Tara Donnelly, who she herself likes to be a mover and a shaker in support of Foreman. And she brought this connection of Seth Rao, who is the senior advisor to CEO Martinez, to come visit our school, right? She's an advocate or squeaky wheel, some may say, for our school. And she brought him to our school to visit, and we both gave him a tour so that we can show areas of need and continue to nurture partnerships within the district to hopefully bring more attention and more TLC, tender loving care to our school. So I appreciated this. This is just, we want to continue to build bridges to help find avenues to help. So this is just a repeat of our scheduling team. I'm not going to go over that because we went through it thoroughly. And we do all of this always with the end goal in mind of graduation. Yes, all of these moments of supporting students with opportunities are important and are wonderful, but we have to remember our end goal is helping students cross that finish line. So this is all I have for my presentation, but I can go into more into depth on this. I don't want to hold everybody up.
Of course, sir. Thank you. It is a meeting. Real quick, so, are you still presenting? No. Okay, so that is not yet begun, and that's correct. Have also, you just
Because they're gonna reach out to me to, about the meeting, hopefully next Friday.
So we'll just get the, so we'll just get the report next month. With FOIA request, correct? Any FOIA request?
No FOIA request. That meeting, we're gonna have a meeting in the 20th. So vamos a hacer una reunión de PAD, el grupo PAD, todavía no se ha reunido, pero vamos a organizar una primera reunión. Y no hay FOIA, no hay requisición de FOIA.
September 20th?
September 20th.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm not sure. You can only tell me.
Okay.
Friday.
La reunión bilingüe va a ser el día 20 de septiembre.
Okay. Do we have a PPLC update?
No, yes, we are in the process of getting nominations, and then to form our PPLC group. So far we have 3 teachers nominated and 2 that are still considering, and we're reaching out to more staff to see if they want to be part of the PPLC. So at the momento tenemos 3 maestros que ya fueron nominados y aceptaron la nominación. Nos quedan 2 maestros más que están pendientes y vamos a tratar de conectar con más maestros a ver quién quiere participar en el PPLC.
Next month, will you just elaborate a little bit more with the new members and what the PPLC is next month?
En el próximo mes podemos decirle a los miembros lo que es el PPLC.
You could probably do that, so,
Yeah, it's going to be helpful because we have so many incorporated. Any updates that you would like to hear?
Sí, hay un update. Okay. No hay ninguna update de estudiantes.
And then just, I just actually want to make sure that we're taking any requests for next month's agenda. Next, we're going to look for a budget update.
So, vamos a estar buscando, estamos solicitando de mí cualquier tipo de recomendación para la agenda de la semana que viene o de mes.
Yeah, and the next month I want us to have up committees, but I wanted to work with the district first. But that's, anything else that we need to add for next month? From anybody?
Si hay algo que quieren para el mes que viene sobre la agenda.
Okay. And our next meeting is on the 20th.
La próxima reunión es el 20 de septiembre.
And then we'll pass these around. These are addresses for the parts of the board. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do you have a motion?
I have a motion to adjourn.
Great.
second. All in favor? On the computer?
Remember to leave the middle sheets as ours, are ours. The middle one, the one with the